tonight is Mayor Scott Stahl of the Union City, Ohio, just across the street from us here in Union City, Indiana. So glad to have you here, Scott.
Thanks, Nick. It's great to be here.
It's glad to have you on for another show. We've started, of course, our new show that we have as a collaborative effort between both Union City, Indiana, and Ohio, with the mayors as our host, called Community Connections. We've had 2 episodes, one where I got to host and kind of introduce the community to the show and what we were going to do, and then we had a live Community Connections, of course, that was at the council chambers for the Union City, Ohio City Council, and we had the phone lines live at that time. No one called, but we're going to have the phone lines open tonight for people, everyone out there. The number's at the bottom of your screen, 964-4026, to call, ask me a question, ask Scott a question, if you have anything that you want to brought to light of what's happening with UCO, city government, community events, anything that you'd like to talk to us about. We'd be glad to have your calls come in. So again, 964-4026. That is, of course, on the Indiana side. If you're calling from the Ohio side, you don't have to dial anything different. Still 964-4026. So make sure that you do tune in. So what we'll start with is, Scott, just tell us about kind of what's happening with Union City, Ohio lately. Of course, we've heard a lot of things that have been happening at the city council meetings, and we're broadcasting those live, of course, as well, and we're glad to do that. But what's happening just lately, just broad overview of what's happening with the city?
Well, again, we appreciate being here. Our main push right now, Nick, this time of year is with the election coming up, and basically less than 2 weeks we have an issue on the ballot, issue 9, for a 0.5% increase on the income tax, and it's earmarked for our police department. So an example I can use, if somebody's making $30,000 a year, a 0.5% would be $150 a year that they would have to pay in addition to what they're paying now in taxes. And the village is in pretty rough financial straits right now. We've had a lot of money that has been cut from, for example, local government funds. Back in 2009, it was $112,844, and we're projecting in 2013 a total of $52,976. So that's better than a 50% decrease, and I'm going to guess that in a couple of years there won't be any local government monies at all, and where we'll make up 52,000 or 112,000 is going to be a tremendous challenge. Now, one opportunity that we have is State Representative Jim Beakey is going to be at our joint meeting on Monday the 29th at the EUM Church, and that'll be an excellent time to ask him how the state is going to assist small villages like Union City, Ansonia, Gettysburg, etc., to come up with the monies that are being lost. Example, again, the local government monies. Because we're not the only community in Darke County or the only community in the state of Ohio that is in pretty rough financial straits. There's a number of us. So be an excellent time to ask him that question. And also we're going to ask, and I don't want to put Jim on the spot, but again, that's part of his job, being a state legislature, is to answer these questions, because the state government is trying to coordinate it where they take our income tax monies and have it taken over at the state level, and they'll send it back to the village of Union City or whomever, but they're going to take 7% out of that.
Really?
So if we project, easy figuring, 200,000, that's $14,000 that they're going to be taking from us.
Right.
And again, for our village, 14,000, losing over 50,000 in the local government funds. Again, those things add up to a tremendous amount of money that we're losing, and we're getting down to the point where it's possible that some essential services may be cut. And I talked about the income tax and a couple examples there. One example there, back in 2008, our income tax generated $235,936,000. We're estimating in 2012 right around 207,000. So you can easily see that's another 28,000 that we've lost there. So the point being is our income is shrinking.
Right.
You can cut back only so far with cutting your expenses back, where you have to do something to increase your income.
Right.
And that's what this hopefully will do, and hopefully our citizens will vote yes on issue 9 come November the 6th.
Okay.
I was over at the Board of Election today and voted absentee, and there's been over 4,000 that have already voted in Dark County.
Yeah.
So, and they are still running through the the Monday before Election Day. So that's a tremendous turnout already, and hopefully that's a good indication of a tremendous turnout through November the 6th.
Absolutely. And some of the ways that, some of the things that we need to think about as citizens, of course, is to get an understanding of what a city government has to do with the money that they have and accumulate, and what they do with it. You know, of course, when you talk about a $14,000 decrease, that is a lot. Of course, that's a lot to a citizen, but of course, as a city, that has to be made up somehow. When those losses incur, you talked about 14,000 here, 30,000 here. Of course, they keep adding up, and you have to replace that with something if you're going to continue running as a city government, or cut those services back. Maybe we have one fewer city employee, maybe we have one fewer whatever, you know, maybe a service has to just go away, you know. So those are the things as taxpayers we got to think about. Yeah, we might not want to pay a little bit more in taxes, but I also like those services. I appreciate those services. So maybe we as citizens need to think about that when we're voting at the ballot on those issues, that I really don't want to get rid of these services. I remember talking about the police department, of course. This levy will, in a lot of ways, get them not to where they really need to be, but at least assist, because there's been a lot of things on their budget that they've had to cut back on. Uniform code, for one. I mean, uniform budget. They have to have uniforms. They have to have these essential things to function and to continue on. And of course, they get worn down and torn apart and things as they work. So that's just one example of something that they've had to hold back on, and we've all been asked to do a little bit more with a little bit less. So tell us about how does the city make its funds? What is it, all the different avenues that a city can do to raise revenue?
Our two main revenue raisers are through our income tax and through property taxes. They're the biggest chunk of the revenue. We also get other funds through the state, whether it be grant money, sales tax, trailer tax, a few zoning permits that we might issue here in the city. We get donations upon occasion. Our fire contracts, the fire department gets some monies there with the townships that they have the contracts with, and the fire department is self-supporting, and we're thankful for that, because at one time it used to be funded through villages funds, $50,000, $60,000, and now again with the contracts that they have and some transfers and so on, they're able to be self-supporting. And that is truly appreciated, because if we had to come up with $50,000 or $60,000 now, it would be a tremendous challenge for us to do that, to support that department.
Exactly, yeah.
But using the fire rescue as an example, they're going to be in need of some equipment here pretty soon, because it's getting older, and of course the older it gets, the more maintenance costs you have, because things have a tendency to break down. And to replace a squad, you're talking $100,000, $200,000. To replace a fire apparatus, depending on what you get, you could be spending anywhere from $125,000 to $250,000 or more. And we just do not have that. We don't have it. And the day is coming where we're going to have to make some rough decisions there of what we're going to do with the equipment. Because in order to get good insurance ratings, you have to have equipment that's able to pump certain amounts of water and other capabilities, and if those aren't there, the insurance rating might change, and therefore would cost all of the citizens a little more on their insurance that they pay. So
Sure.
there's many avenues out there.